welcome to Talk a Good Game. It's a match preview. West Ham United against Newcastle United. We are back. Hammers Chat are back with their normal content.
Back.
West Ham are back. The Premier League is back. Anything else?
I don't know. I just thought I would add something to the intro, really.
Yes, right, brilliant. Right, let's talk about Newcastle. Let's start with our opponents. As always, been doing it for the last 5-6 seasons now, Gonzo. I'm not really going to change. So, instead of saying your thoughts, it's game one. They've been busy in the transfer market. Unlike us, Newcastle, I think, have been doing some savvy business.
Yeah, crazy business, really. No one would have predicted them to do any business, if you know what I mean. Bearing in mind the takeover had fallen through, I thought the perception would have been, well, they're going to sort of stagnate a little bit there. Ashley's going to maybe have a little sulk because he didn't get the sale through, and certainly wouldn't give Steve Bruce any money. It's a funny one, actually, because they don't have the manager that they want, because there was a lot of unrest when, let's say, Ashley let Rafa leave. And because they really wanted him, they loved Rafa, and they didn't want Steve Bruce, even though he's from the northeast. There was a lot of complaints. No, we don't want this guy. And I felt a little bit sorry for him. If you remember, Steve Bruce's first game was a friendly against us, and I did. He wasn't getting. There weren't many nice comments about him. They don't have the owner they want, because obviously clearly they wanted the other guy. Well, I say the other guy, any guy. Any one of the 7 other billion people on the planet apart from Mike Ashley. They don't have the owner, don't have the manager, but actually they look like they might be all right this season, Geo, despite them not wanting either. I'm sure Steve Bruce has grown on them, actually. I bet he's warmed to them. I think he's do a good job. He's not a bad manager. Clearly, it seems they've got some good players, the makers of a good team, and a transfer strategy. So all is not doom and gloom. Up in the northeast.
Are you impressed by the transfer strategy? The main ones: Jeff Hendrick, Jamal Lewis, Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser, for about just under 35 million for those 4 players.
Well, I think they've got good value if that's the outlay for that, because 2 of them are free signings, as you mentioned. I am, some of it I'm impressed with. They've clearly needed a striker for some time, a striker to bang the goals in the back of the net, and as much as they paid big money for Joe Linton, he can look impressive sometimes, but he flatters to deceive. He looks like he's purpose built for the Premier League, but actually when you see him at close quarters, he ain't so good. They certainly can't rely on Andy Carroll. I don't know what's happened with Dwight Gale. Has he left now?
He's still
Dwight
there.
Gale?
He's got injured again though.
Right, okay, but he's a good. You remember this from the previews. I like Dwight Gale. I think he's a nippy striker. I think he's a poacher and a natural goal scorer. But they need a regular guy that they're going to play. So they don't always play Gale. Gale's been a bit unlucky like that in his career. Not everyone's always fancied him. Perhaps not a striker for the modern game. So with Callum Wilson, I think is shrewd business and good business. And if they're happy to balance up the fact that he may or may not get injured, it's a really good deal. I think left back's a funny one because I really like Willem. I think his name might have been. Came on loan from PSV Eindhoven. I thought he was a really good player, but clearly they weren't so sure because then they brought Danny Rose in. So clearly, they know their club better than us. Clearly, there's a perception that there's some weakness at left wing back. Left fullback. Jamal Lewis, the hot property, the youngster. So they brought him in from Norwich. I mean, they have brought in a load of players who got relegated. That has to be said. Let's just point that out. Fraser less so because it's. I thought Saint-Maximin plays on that side as well. But maybe if they're getting rid of Richie, who's also a wide player, maybe they're going to one on one wing, one on the other, something like that. For 35 million, Geo, it ain't bad business, and Hendrick, of course, as you mentioned as well. I think they've got to be happy with that.
I think it's really good business. I think the main thing is it's all Steve Bruce picks. One of the things I follow a Newcastle journalist on Twitter. I don't know why. It's because I do know why. He followed me first, and I thought, who's this?
You're nice. You're polite like that.
Who's this geezer? Why has he got a blue tick? I want a blue tick. I don't really want it, but I thought, who's this guy? Then he says a Newcastle. So I followed him. So I get quite a lot of Newcastle news now because I see it. And he was saying that all these players are coming in are all Steve Bruce choices. I mean, you can tell they are, can't you? They do look like Steve Bruce signings. But I think the clever thing about them for me is not necessarily what they'll bring, but also I think they'll actually make the players that are there all better. I think Callum Wilson coming in actually allows Yulington to go and play on the wide of our front three, which I think he's better at. I don't think he's a number 9. I think he's better on the outside of our front three. That frees him up. I think Fraser coming in then allows St Maximum to almost have like a free roll or switch from left to right and do whatever he pleases and stuff. So I actually think those signings make the ones they've already got a little bit better without actually doing anything. I think it's clever signings by them. I think if you had any, I think their signings have almost taken them away from relegation candidates in my head, to be honest with you. I'm not convinced they would have been in a relegation battle, but I don't think they would have been far off it. But once you add those to the squad, I think they'll be alright now, actually, Newcastle. It just goes to show what good bits of business can do for you in the summer. What's a good season for Newcastle this season, and what have they got to do in your head for you at the end of the season to give them a 7.5, 8 out of 10?
I think in many respects 12th is now is the old 10th, if you know what I mean. Well, let me explain myself. I just think you've got that top. Let's run through the clubs very quickly. You've got Man City, you've got Liverpool, you've got Chelsea, you've got Man U, possibly going to contest the top 4, be the top 4. Arsenal going to push them really close because Arteta looks like he's got some momentum. Tottenham, so now we're up to 6th, of going to want to do something. Then you've got to factor in Leicester, who really, were it not for the lockdown, might well have got top 4 themselves. That's 7. Then we've got to look at the ambition of Wolves. That's 8. And then you've got to factor in Everton, who are spending money like it's going out of fashion. It's going to be, that's 9 clubs, Gio, who it's going to be very hard for anyone else to break into them. So I do think there's going to be a lot of clubs vying for that 10th spot. And that's when I say it's almost like the top 10 is almost gone. It's weird. Maybe I'm a bit pessimistic there, but I think if Newcastle could finish 12th, it would be a magnificent season, bearing in mind the upheaval at the club.
I think it's time for a cup for Newcastle. I think the aim has to be to not have a relegation battle, to go for a trophy. I think I don't see why that wouldn't be the aim, to be honest with you. I think with this, they've got a decent squad there. They've got a solid Premier League squad. They've got a tried and tested manager. The only thing they're missing now is a little bit of glory. I think for a good season, it depends who they get in the draw. I do believe in luck of the draw when it comes to this type of thing. Yeah. I do think that if they can avoid the Sky Sports top 6 in the draws, then go for a cup, get to Wembley and stuff. Give your fans a day out if they get there.
Oh, that City will go mental, mate. I'm not sure Bruce is the cup manager, though, if you know what I mean. Bruce is your survive in the Premier League, and funny enough, he's got to produce something. They've had a bid rejected earlier for that Samari for 35 million. Now, if they generally are bidding for 35 million for a midfielder, and they've still got 35 million to play with, Steve Bruce has been backed, and he's got to give something back to Mike Ashley. He's got to give something back to Newcastle, and I think 12th, while financially it's enough to repay what you've spent, I'm not sure it's enough in terms of the X factor, if you like. I think you need to give a little bit more, particularly in this market where no one's really spending. If you generally are going to be back with £70 million, you've got to deliver something, and I think cups are the something, to be honest with you, as well as Premier League safety. Players you admire, please. Well, I always get a little chuckle on this one. I like Almiron. I think he's a nightmare for defenders. I think he's fast. I think he's suited to the Premier League. I think he operates that horrible zone between the defence and the midfield, which is obviously where you would stick a Kante or someone, like that, just to stop these players who pop up. Just full of energy. I think he drags players out of position, and I think he's. I think there's more of a player in there than we've seen. I love Shelby's range of passing. Oh my goodness, what's the centre back's name? The good one.
Lascelles.
Yeah, he's very good. Very, very good player. And Sam Maximin, as you know, was somebody that I wanted to see at West Ham before we signed the Brazilian bloke. Oh, we got that one wrong, didn't we? They've got some good players, Newcastle, and they're bringing in some more good ones. So, good luck to them, really.
I think their right back spot's the weak spot, to be honest with you. I think they'll probably play Mankilo there on Saturday. I'm surprised they've not gone after someone to fill that role. I've never been overly convinced when watching Newcastle that they've got a good right back, but they're solid enough. I'm not a fan of Almiron. I think he's all he's fast and he works hard, but
Yeah.
crikey, he's awful at shooting, isn't he? I know this is going to come back.
I don't know. He's got.
I know this is.
He's scored against us.
Well,
hasn't he?
Callum Wilson scoring on Saturday as well. What difference is it going to make if Almiron gets one as well? But I just watch him. I think, like, he would frustrate the life out of me watching him regularly. I think Shelby's just a terrific footballer, but I think Sean Longstaff is brilliant. I think he's really, really good. Just unfortunate with injuries again. I think Hayden is also very good. If he was to eventually end up to West Ham after being linked to us for about 2 years, I'd be happy with that. But I think Fernandez has impressed me last season. Actually, there's the other centre back. I thought Shar was a better centre back 2 years ago, but last season I thought Fernandez was one of their best players actually. And Dubravka, the keeper, he's out for this weekend, so that helps us a little bit. But yeah, some solid good players at Newcastle. Anyway, we're going to move on to West Ham, but before we do, football being back means more content for the patrons. Admittedly, hands up, we've been a bit rubbish, me and Gonzo, with patron content, but the football being back gives us some tap-ins, if you like. Sitters, we're going to get a few layoffs from St. Maximum on the Patreon stuff, if you like. So you want to support Hamish Chat, the link is in the description below. Got a morning video where me and Gonzo have our breakfast, then chat, or sometimes chat before breakfast about it. And then we've also got the player ratings and stuff, loads of stuff for patrons down below if you want to support us. Gonzo, time to talk about West Ham. No new signings, unlike no.
Can we just talk about Newcastle some more, please?
Yeah, I mean, I was ready to say to you, what do you want to say? And if you were to say the same as the last game, it's perfectly plausible because there's nothing different. But Solchek, let's team news first of all. Solchek is available. He was in doubt because of the quarantine thing with the Czech Republic and the COVID situation, but he is available. However, he's not been training, so he's been in quarantine, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's saying perhaps they must have had a treadmill or something in quarantine. This is one of the fittest players, and I don't say this lightly. I've got the stats back it up. This is one of the fittest players in the Premier League and in Europe. When he was in the Champions League, the stats back that up. I think in European qualifying for his country,
he might be fit, but he might also be a bit rusty.
He has a rusty fit bloke. Nothing wrong with a bit of that, mate. There's I put him in. He's too integral. He's too pivotal. He also has that other thing, which is a commodity that almost you can't train into people, and that's the timing of his runs. He sniffs danger. He's like a bloodhound for danger. He knows the position to take up in a box. He's got that sixth sense to know where the ball is going to fall. He will provide goals from midfield. He makes our set pieces dangerous. When he doesn't, since we've had him, we've been spoiled. We think, we're danger at set pieces. When he hasn't played or when he's not been on the pitch and we've had a corner, I don't feel like we're going to score. I don't feel as excited. And if I don't feel as excited, our players don't feel as excited because they're not thinking, our big threat is here. And if our players are feeling that, then the opposition are thinking, okay, Souček's not playing today. That's one less person I have to pick up on at set plays and stuff like that. I think he's a big player for us, Gio, and he has to start.
Yeah, I completely agree. We don't really have much alternative either, to be honest. This is how it's how bad it is, though. We're going into match day 1 after weeks of the transfer window where we've got 2 centre midfielders and one's out. All of a sudden our centre midfield looks really bad. So he's got to play. I think when we played Newcastle post lockdown, I thought we troubled them at set pieces as well. We scored from a set piece. I think it was Souček that scored it as well. So clearly that's something that Moyes had worked on, and I expect him to be working on again ahead of Saturday. So he's definitely got to start, even if he is rusty, so to speak. The striker position, we'll go through the 11 in a second, but the striker position's the other one that I think is up for debate. Who would you start, or would you start both of them? There's only 1.5 strikers, by the way, with Ali and Antonio. So are you starting the actual striker or the half striker, or a combination?
I would start both, actually, and I'd sort of change my mind quite late as I was plugging the microphone in the laptop. Basically, I changed my mind. It was just going to be Antonio up top, but I think I'm going to play Haller because obviously he is a big threat. Also, I do feel if we've got Haller and Souček and the other big guys on there as well, it's a hell of a nasty thing for the opposition to have to defend against. We get very, very strong in the air. Very strong in the air we are now. I also think there was a slight problem with the left-hand side, so I had to change my team because basically our owners sold one of the players that I wanted to play on the left wing. I won't talk about that anymore. Maybe not until tomorrow. I thought I'd maybe Antonio on the left, but getting very close to him, and almost, maybe when we've got the ball, it almost turned into a 4-4-2. When we don't, he pulls back and moves on the left. But because I'm going to have Fornals in the team as well, they would almost share duties. Him and Fornals will swap over a bit, because we need to protect the left back and the right back. But we'll deal with that.
Yeah, I would go the same. I would start earlier up front for this one. I think it'd be a bit of a kick for Sebastian if he didn't start on Saturday. He must think, hang on, I'm the only striker at the club and I still can't start. It's not great. I know Antonio's forms, so on and so forth, but this is a new season, it's a different season, and while you take some of that into consideration, I do think it's almost like a blank sheet of paper a little bit, and I think that's exactly what you've got to be saying to Ali. Like, we go again, we're starting from scratch, you're the striker. For as long as you perform, you're the striker. However, I would play Antonio too, but take it flat back four, Fabianski in goal. What's your back four looking like?
Fredericks right
Fredericks? Back. Interesting. Yeah. Now I know who your left back is, but continue.
No, you don't. I'm really. I know he was having a mare. I know Johnson was fouling everyone. But he got hauled off after 25 minutes. I'm not sure what that's done for his confidence at all. I just can't see any way that he plays or that he can play. I think it was a bad move. Obviously, I wasn't around to do the review for that game, for that friendly against Bournemouth. I thought it was a bad move by Moyes. And actually, I thought at least we were getting overrun. At least he was trying to do something by fouling them. And he didn't have a great game. But then Fredericks comes on and gives the ball away. But I just feel one of them is going to be confident. That's Fredericks, and one of them may well have his confidence completely shattered by that. So I'm not even sure you can even risk it now. And that's on Moyes, that one. As you know, I'm a supporter of Moyes, but I think he's made a mistake there. So I would start Fredericks there. Diop, Ogbonna, and Cresswell.
I would start Johnson. I never seen the friendly, so I don't know. But I'd discard friendly performances and stuff anyway. I do think it is what it is, kind of thing. The substitution does sound harsh and stuff, but I would still play Ben Johnson. I think he deserves it. I think he finished the season in fine form. I think it's his shirt to lose, if you like, and so he would start for me. And I would go with the same defence as you would, Diop, Ogbonna, Creswell, because there's no other option really. I don't want to see Masuaku left back. I don't mind seeing Balbuena, but he's not. Diop and Ogbonna's ahead of him, so the defence picks itself, and this is where it's a little bit embarrassing actually that we're going into the first game of the season with the same back four as we finished with, despite conceding over 60 goals. It's not great. Your midfield is Souček and Rice, simple.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with the fornicator just in front.
Yeah, we're Bowen on the right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've got similar teams then. We've only got one player different, and that's the right back due to performance against Bournemouth and stuff. A few people, Gonzo, on social media, when the fixtures came out, labelled this one as a must-win. They've obviously looked at it. After this game, we've got six real difficult fixtures. We've got Arsenal, Wolves, Leicester, Tottenham, Man City and Liverpool.
Brilliant.
Is this? Are you labelling this as a must-win, or is it not quite yet, but...
No, because mathematically it isn't, but I totally understand why everyone's saying it. I completely get why everyone's saying it. It's the start of the season. Anything can happen at the start of the season. We don't even know what's going to happen because it's not even a normal start to the season. It's not like they've had months off. We've only had a game of, a few weeks ago. By and large, most of the players are going to still be fit from the last season. Never mind we won't have had to do a pre-season. It'll be a little top up. It's going to be weird, but every time we see the start to a new season, some unexpected team does well at the start. The promoted clubs have got a spring in their step and their tails are wagging, and they do a little bit better than you'd expect. You've only got to look back. Was it possibly was it Norwich and Liverpool, the first game of last season? It might have been Norwich and Liverpool or Norwich and City, something like that. I think it might have been Norwich and Liverpool. I think it might have been 4-2 or something.
Norwich beat City early on because Liverpool went unbeaten.
Yeah, but I think the very first game, it was Norwich and Liverpool, I'm pretty sure, and Liverpool won. But I think Norwich were ahead, and I remember Klopp coming out at the end and saying, they're going to give the team some bother. But it was, their tails wagging. We see that an awful lot. So anything can happen at the start of the season. Don't rule out us getting thumped by thumped by Newcastle, but beating Man U, or these things can happen at the start. So I'm not necessarily sure it's must win, but I do understand why everyone's saying it.
Yeah, I think it's an important. I wouldn't label it as a must win either. However, a defeat would have me looking through my fingers at the next 6 games thinking this isn't good, because by the time match day 8 comes round, which is against Fulham, if I'm correct, then there's every chance we are in the bottom 3 with single figure points on board and stuff, and it just wouldn't be a really good feeling, would it? So I do understand why it's important, but also there's a chance that you're going to try and buy a player after like 5-6 games. You're trying to buy players because the window's still open. You're bottom of the league, you're second bottom of the league. You're trying to say, yeah, come to West Ham, got this exciting project on the go. They're looking at it going, really? You've scored 3 goals. You're in the bottom 3. I don't really see much excitement going on there. I just think it changes the whole perspective of stuff. However, a win does give you that little bounce going into the next couple of games and stuff, and I think it would be more valuable to pick up points and stuff. Are you confident? Match day 1, are you confident for this one?
No, I don't think you can be confident at West Ham at the moment. You can be hopeful, but I don't think you can be confident. No. Sorry. Yeah, you want me to elaborate?
Please elaborate. Thank you. Listen, you've been doing this for 6 years now. Okay, 6 years you've been doing this. You're not getting away with just that.
Oh yeah. So, hey, don't let him off the hook.
Hey? Talk a good game. I just double check it as talk a good game and not talk a one-word answer.
Yeah, grunt a good game. Dismiss a bad game.
Witness a bad game.
Witness a bad game. It's really hard. Look. Here's the irony. We finished the last season brilliantly. We were one of the better teams. I've not seen the form table from lockdown to the end, right? But we'd have been up there. We'd have been up near the top. We were one of the best teams. We scored loads of goals. We shipped a few. We should be brimming with confidence. We've sold nobody. Nobody from that team, by the way. It's not like we've lost players. We've lost someone who wasn't part of that team that was doing really, really well. If anything, we've made one of them a permanent fixture who was on loan, and that's Souček. So I should have more confidence. We should be going into it thinking, okay.
Are you reading David Sullivan's email there?
He don't say. He's made it quite clear. He's not sending me an email.
I think you've got David Sullivan's script in front of you there.
Absolutely. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, but that's all true. But they've sucked the life out of us. They've sucked the confidence out of me. Any buoyancy from last season is basically has evaporated. We're sinking. We're not buoyant. It feels like we're a club in decline. The players feel almost mutinous. There's a bad feeling around the club, and my point is, despite how good form, recent good form, post-lockdown good form, the off-the-pitch stuff has drained that confidence away, and it's really hard as a club. If we were to go on and win this game, I'd have to say fair play to those people on the training ground, both the players and the management, for being able to put it out their minds, focus on the game, and rekindle whatever magic they had at the end of last season, and forget all the dramas and all the trials and tribulations of the club. I really would. I'd say well done all your coaching team, Kevin Nolan, David Moyes, blah blah blah, Mark Noble for putting it behind you. Fantastic. I really would, but it's hard to be confident.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same. I decided during lockdown, ahead of the new season, as I called it, I decided I was going to sort of ignore the form going into the next season, because I think it's a competition on its own. It's almost like a World Cup style thing, and there's managers that do better at international level than club level, and vice versa, for a particular reason, because it's a completely different competition. And that's why I'm not going to read too much into lockdown for him. And if I did, I thought Newcastle were fantastic post-lockdown as well. I thought they were really impressive, so it swings and roundabouts really. But I just think a lot of our players are probably a bit down at the minute. There's players that maybe want out of the club that haven't got out of the club. There's been players that are told they're getting out of the club that haven't got out of the club, and they're still here, and they're now expected to go and perform for West Ham.
Yeah.
I have a worry with the substitutions, Gonzo. I do worry that Moyes isn't going to suddenly start doing substitutions and stuff. That concerns me. We're back down to 3 subs per game. In the nature and spirit of the Premier League as a competition, I am pleased for that. I do not like the 5 sub thing. However, for David Moyes as a manager, I am not pleased, because at least when there was 5, it might have encouraged him to make a couple more because he still had 3 left. Now he's only got 3. I think he's going to take even longer. I think we're going to be looking at this 65th minute before he makes a substitution again, regardless of how it's going on the pitch. That worries me. I think Newcastle's strengths is down their side with their pace. Our weakness is down our side with our lack of pace. It's a bit of a mismatch. So that worries me a little bit. But saying that, I do think all our main players are fit. All our main players are available. And the reality is, we are not buying many players in this window. Even between now and then, the season ends, window shutting. We might spend a lot of money on one player in particular. I don't know. We might buy 3 players or something. But this is going to be the core of our squad for the whole season. We might make 1 or 2 additions, but that's it. I don't think there'll be anything major. So this team can't win, and I mean this with utmost respect to Newcastle. If this team cannot win at home to Newcastle on match day 1, I think we're in a little bit of trouble already, and not in sense of relegation, but just that this is going to set us up for the season, which is it's not going to be comfortable. I don't know. I'm just a bit concerned over this one, guys. I don't have confidence. I don't have the excitement I normally do for some reason for match day 1 of the Premier League. I don't have excitement. I think it's just been hoovered up out of me. Like you said, it's just, I don't know. I'm sure when Saturday comes round, I'll be a bit excited to watch it and stuff, and we'll do our pre-match build-up show, and I'll be a bit excited. But currently, I'm a bit... But that's about all Premier League stuff rather than just West Ham. But all that in mind, please, Gonzo, can I have your first score prediction of the season?
You certainly can. And I think I'm going to go with West Ham 2, Newcastle 1. You probably want me to elaborate on that as well.
No, you don't have to. A score's fine. A score's
Yeah. I think we can win. I do. I'm not confident we can win, but I think we can. And I think you've got to. Well, we haven't got to. We just got to watch the game. But I think the squad have got to remember their qualities, and I think the coaching staff have got to remind the squad of their qualities and remind them what got them success at the end of last season. Remind them how difficult we were to play against. We were awkward. We were nasty. We started doing cynical fouls and stuff we hadn't done so much before. I thought we were getting to a point where other teams would be fearful to concede a corner against us. And you know me, I want to give the other team something to worry about, Geo, to think about. When they get the team saying, right, okay, we can't just concentrate on our game. We need to think a little bit about what West Ham are doing. And I think we can do that. I think from looking at it positively, Bowen is a machine. Souček coming back is massive. We're going to have a very, very motivated Declan Rice. And whilst he's not in my team, do not rule out if Mark Noble starts. Mark Noble being man of the match.
I fully expect Noble. I'll be shocked if Mark Noble doesn't start. I think to predict the starting 11, I think Fredericks will be right back. Diop, Ogbonna, Creswell, Souček, Rice, Fornals, Noble, Bowen, and I think he'll go with Antonio up front. To be honest with you, I think that's the. I'll be surprised if less than. I'd be surprised if there's more than one of those wrong. I think there might be one error in there, and that's it. I agree with what you're saying. I think we could win, but I'm not confident. I'm going to go for 1-1. I don't know. I think Newcastle are better prepared going into this than we are. They've got their stuff together. Monday, 2 signings. Tuesday, 1 signing. Wednesday, let's get the team ready for Saturday kind of thing. We don't have that problem. We should have our team ready already because we've had no new signings to integrate. Just don't feel that we are, Gonzo. I just feel that we're somewhat of a mess all over the shop a little bit, and like I said, because I didn't see the friendly, I had to watch the highlights only, and I think that scared me more than watching the actual friendly because the highlights were not good in terms of defending. So I'm going to go West Ham 1, Newcastle 1. Anyway, Premier League is back, which means loads of content. Join us. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. Then when we play Wolves in 3 weeks, we've got a 7 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday. But Saturday night, 7 p.m, we will be live just before 7 p.m, where we'll be going through the lineups, letting you know West Ham lineup, the Newcastle lineup, our final thoughts, our final score predictions and stuff. That followed by a watch along for the duration of the game, followed by a live review, followed by fan opinions. Lots of content for you. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so. Drop a like on the video. Enjoy it. And Gonzo, I shall see you on Saturday evening.
We're back.
Take care and catch you in a bit.